He was cordial about it. He was respectful about it. But J Batt let everyone know today that, yeah, it's time to start winning in football.
You are Locked On Spartans, your daily podcast on the Michigan State Spartans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Today's episode of Locked On Spartans is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Spartan friends, Spartan family, Locked On Spartans listeners, thank you all so much for tuning in to today's episode of Locked On Spartans, your team in green and white right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Guys, I'm your host, Matt Sheehan, and we will guide you through an episode that's going to start with some athletic director talk, and he was pretty bold about something that he said. If you listen to the audio, didn't, pound the table or anything, but oh boy, one big takeaway from this introductory press conference in East Lansing. And then, guys, we're going to extend what we've been doing the last few weeks. We're going game by game of Michigan State football season. And up next, Nebraska. We talk with Minnie Hunt of Corn Nation to get an inside look on the Huskers, how their offseason's been, what will be at stake for this game. But guys, just like we said, let's get it popping with this introductory press conference of J Batt being named the athletic director here at Michigan State. And it was a nice event, President Kevin Guskowitz talked, interim athletic director Tom Izzo talked, if you've ever heard about that guy. But yes, J Batt, he said, hey, priorities are all the classic things that you want to hear out of your athletic director. He wants graduation to be first and foremost. He also want to win championships across the board for all sports. But he also said, quote, do not be confused. Every athletics department competing at the highest level must be successful in football. And that is correct, because that is just, by and large throughout the entire country, what steers the ship in a lot of athletic departments. Whether it's fan excitement, hey, you know what? You got a happy fan base in the fall. You could roll that over into the winter. Sure, whatever. Or we could talk about, what's actually important in this day and age of football. That sweet, sweet money. Pretty much every athletic department, maybe every single athletic department, has football as the driving force on the bottom line. It is no different here in East Lansing, even with how successful the basketball program is. Because football dwarfs a lot of other athletic departments around the whole country. So if you ain't winning football, well, that's going to be reflected on your bottom line. So he said it in as nice of a way as he possibly could, that, yeah, it's time to start winning in football. And he also said this, too, that, quote, we will do everything possible we can to support Coach Smith. So, look, there's 100 different ways you could, pick apart a press conference, words out of an athletic director. But, man, part of me does wonder, is this him saying that we're going to give you the resources? Now it's time for you to steer this ship quicker than the trajectory that we are on, Coach Jonathan Smith. Now, guys, if this is your first time watching this show, let me just bring you up to speed. I like Coach Smith. I think it was a really solid hire. I understand that it's going to be a slow-ish rebuild here, but not everyone's patient in this world. I mean, you can go ahead, look at our email inbox last year of people that already wanted Coach Smith fired, or you could just go ahead and look at what J Batt is saying, that yes, football is important, especially right now, guys, in a world where college football is changing rapidly, and they're separating themselves from the haves and the don't haves right now. It's time to get it on the train and start winning some football games here, okay? And, hey, with the NIL resources Michigan State can have, with the resources of the new facilities that they have, yes, Michigan State can be positioned in a way to start winning football games right now. And J Batt knows that, too, with his experience at Georgia Tech, because, well, if there's one knock to have on Coach Smith right now, and not to, try to crank up the temperature on his hot seat, but this is just a factual conversation to have, is that recruiting is going to have to pick up here at Michigan State. Georgia Tech, you want to know what their recruiting rankings were last year? Just lowly Georgia Tech, always an afterthought down in their part of the woods. They were 21st overall. It might not seem like much, but for a rambling rec program down there, that's really damn good. They were third best in the ACC last year at recruiting. They were ranked ahead of little old Clemson last year. So J Batt knows how important recruiting is, how big transfer portals are. And I know that we've talked about the strategy here at Michigan State of, hey, get into battles that you know that you can win. Sure, that might be the 3-star kids, but I don't know. I do wonder what happens this season if it is like a 6-6 year, dare I say 5-7 year, and recruiting isn't picking up. We had this episode a few weeks ago. Not a lot of people liked it when we talked about it, but just factually, would Jonathan Smith be on the hot seat after year one? It might be tough because his buyout would be around $33 million. It'd be the second highest buyout of all time. But man, J Batt, again, I'll say it one more time. He was very nice about it. He didn't have like this fire in his eyes or anything, but just let everyone know that, yeah, I recognize the sport of football. I know how important it is. We are going to give all the resources possible to the coaches that are here. Now let's just fire on into the future and see what happens. That last part was me paraphrasing. Anyway, guys, with the ever-changing landscape in college sports in general, he did have another quote, it's not to survive it for Michigan State, but to take advantage of it, to take ground, and to move forward. Also saying this is a top 10 athletic department in the country. And of course, you're going to have your new athletic director say a bunch of nice things about you. For God's sakes, MSU just handed him damn near $2 million per year to take this job. I'd say a lot of nice things about people, too, if I just got that money. But I got to say, top 10 athletic department in the country, I don't think that's a lie. Or if it is, I don't think he's too far off from the truth there, because this is going to surprise a lot of people. Maybe you've heard it, from other media members or other podcasts, or maybe this podcaster right here talking to you, that Michigan State is a top 15 revenue generating school, not in the Big Ten, but in the whole entire country. I know that when you look around, you see Ohio State over there, they make a buttload of money. Hey, that's Michigan over there. They're doing okay for themselves. Penn State too. Michigan State really isn't that too far off from where those guys are. So while they get the headlines, they get a lot of the money. Michigan State, top 12. And when you just, sweep aside all the money, championship pedigree in many sports, right? We've all seen that. We've seen hockey win some titles. Basketball, I would say, does okay with themselves. Gymnastics on the rise. Cross country doing okay. There's been some solid moments in golf recently if you want to get into those weeds. But the resources are here both financially and just the donors, the facilities that you have, the footprint Michigan State is on. So it is all here for the taking right now. Now, Kevin Guskowitz, just, a few things from him that I thought were notable. He said that he wanted a, quote, thought leader and also, quote, an outward-facing and engaging person for this job. Also mentioning that, when he was doing introductions with people before the camera started rolling, that a lot of the donors in there said that, oh, yeah, J Batt's already called me or already texted me. So that's pretty important. The guy knows the assignment. No kidding. We've seen what he's done at other places here. And also, when he did the coaching search with Turnkey, he asked, hey, give me the top 5 or 6 athletic directors, okay? And the guy said, okay, top 5 or 6 guys that are willing to move, or top 5 or 6 guys like in general? Kevin said that he asked for the top 5 or 6 guys regardless if they were willing to move or not. And they said, yeah, this could all be a lie, but I like to believe it because he's got a pretty impressive resume, that he was the number 1 guy on the list. So mission accomplished from both Turnkey, Kevin Guskowitz. So well done, everyone involved here. Now, just to end this, he didn't go into, deep diving plans of, okay, this is what's going to happen in the next 5 or 10 years here. I mean, technically, the guy doesn't even start his job for another week and a half. So he wasn't going to lay it all out on the table right now. But here are 2 things that I just want seen done here pretty quickly under the tenure of J Batt here. And first and foremost, yep, you guessed it, I am going to still be anal about fundraising. I am going to ask for a capital campaign to be announced because this is something that J Batt is very familiar with, guys. Now, at Georgia Tech, they launched the Full Steam Ahead campaign. That was a $500 million drive that they announced and raised just $300 million of it in just 2 years under Batt's leadership. Not too shabby. So they've done Bobby Dodd Stadium renovations down at Georgia Tech. All other arenas, too, are going to get a little bit of love as well. And that's what we want here up in East Lansing. And even before Georgia Tech, when he was at Alabama, he oversaw the $600 million 10-year drive for all athletic facilities. Bryant Denny, they're in the midst of upwards of a $250 million renovation. It was hard to get a number on how much this renovation cost for Bryant Denny Stadium. I saw some for $100 million, some for $200 million. Regardless, serious moves being made at a big boy program down in Tuscaloosa that dealt with seating changes, taking out the benches and putting seat backs for all the fine folks down there, locker room changes, tunnel changes. Point blank, if it's a facility that can be improved on, J Batt has experience raising the funds to do so. So I want something announced. Call it the Go Greener campaign or the Spearhead 2029. How about that? Because Spearhead, you're going to spearhead a drive for money, and Spartans also use spears. I don't know. It's not my finest work. Or, hey, just cut to the chase, the Make It Rain Tour of Destruction campaign. That's right. We're going to steamroll everyone in the Big Ten with money. I don't care what you call it. Just announce something. More to come here about J Batt's introductory press conference. There's still something that I want to have done. We're going to get a little passionate about that at the other side of this break. But first, guys, the NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action than with FanDuel. Now, FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game both before tip and live. With player props, performance trends, same-game parlays, fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. Now, guys, hey, one of my favorite wagers to make is not just first basket score, but method of first basket score here. I was at a bachelor party over the weekend, and everyone had their different ways to win. Andrew Nemhart three-pointer, Karl Anthony Towns free throw, etc. It's a lot of fun, guys. And so everyone close your eyes, ride with me. We're going to do Chet Holmgren, any other method. So that's not a layup or a dunk three-point. That's how we're going to do it here for game one of the NBA Finals. If you're new to FanDuel, it's a perfect time to sign up. Head over to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. Now, if it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Again, you could use on same-game parlays, live bets, all sorts of ways to use those bonus bets. Make every moment worth FanDuel, guys, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. And the second thing I want is something like I might just start yelling about because I'm oddly passionate about it, but just NIL for the people, for the common man. It's not lost with me that the main people that have to deal with NIL were in that press conference room today. Like, I like to say that 90% of your NIL are coming from the same 10% of people. But let's just try to hold on to like a shred of what college sports is. And when I say that, I mean have fans feel involved. Have us, the common folk, feel like you're part of a tribe here. I don't care if our donations mean very little to the bottom line. I at least want to know where my money can go. I at least want to, be treated like, hey, you do care about me and that I am part of this big boy club. I know it sounds silly, but this is part of college sports fandom and tribalism, right, guys? Like, first and foremost, what is this NIL collective even called? I oftentimes forget that it's Spartan Nation NIL. And also, where are the email and the tweets and everything that goes hand in hand with NIL communication? Like, where can my money go as I am just sky high after a big win? Like, Nick Marsh goes for 500 yards against Maryland last year. Where's that email telling me where I could send my money to make sure he's on campus next year? Or Trey Holloman's half-court shot last year? No reason there shouldn't be an email in my inbox within 15 minutes after that game asking for my credit card information to zap a bunch of money over when I can't even comprehend what life is after that sweet moment, right? Or, hey, you smoke Michigan twice in basketball. Ka-ching, cashing on that. Jackson Kohler goes off for 70 points against Illinois. I should be bleeding money after that game. Or I should at least know where to go. I should at least know what the name is. Again, guys, it's a small impact on the bottom line. But college sports is about community here. It still is. I know it's changing, but it's still a little bit about community, okay? It's feeling like you're part of the tribe, feeling like you're making a difference here. We're all in, right? And that was, to bring this full circle, something they kept reiterating over and over again, whether it was President Kevin, whether it was Tom Izzo, whether it was J Batt himself. They were very adamant that we have to be all in here, whether you're an assistant coach, a big-time donor, whether it's just us, the little fans, right, guys? It's all in. That just starts with NIL, just making us feel that we are involved, making it clear who you are. So, guys, thanks a lot for listening to that rant. We're going to be joined here for the rest of the show by Minnie Hunt of Corn Nation. They do fantastic work over there for all things Huskers. So what are we waiting for? Let's just get into it. Folks, that's right. We are down in Corn Country, or dare I say Corn Nation. We are joined by Minnie Hunt, who does great things over at the YouTube side of things for that wonderful Nebraska site over there. And Minnie, let's start right here. How are the vibes for the fan base right now? Because going into year 3 under Matt Rule, seems like things are in a steady spot right now, but do I have this all wrong? Are you guys looking for more? Or is this a college football playoff or bust kind of year? Just what's it looking like a few months out from the kickoff?
Well, Matt, I'm glad that you asked because I can't even begin to explain the excitement. A lot of Husker fans are the old school type Husker fans that remember the 90s and when we were great. I'm a newer fan, so I've
Okay.
only been around for about the last decade. I don't even know what it's been like to watch a good football
Hmm.
team from Nebraska. However, new fans, old fans alike, we are all jumping on the bandwagon and we are ready for a really great season. I mean, we're looking at everything from our strength of schedule to the
Yeah.
fact that we had a freshman quarterback last season, and now we have a second year. He'll take the jump, hopefully. We have a new offensive coordinator as well as defensive coordinator. We've added so many weapons to our toolbox. So this is really exciting for us.
Well, look at you guys go, because I know there was a lot of turnover, and we're going to get to off-season additions where you guys got stronger and everything like that. But what I like to do with these little previews that we've done, our great previews that we're doing 4 or 5 months before the season, is just take a look and see what the stakes are going to be for this game. And this gets a little harder week by week because at this point it will be Michigan State's 5th game. It will be their 2nd road game in a row with a bye week in between, so it's not a true back-to-back road games. But still, for Michigan State, the stakes on our side will be, okay, if you win this game, that's another, boost of energy that this fan base can have, knowing that you can go on the road against a respectable opponent like Nebraska and come back home with the win, because, Minnie, we haven't had a lot of those moments in the last few years. So anytime we can get it, we will take it. But what about for you guys? Because, similar to Michigan State, it'll be your 5th game of the season. It will be your 4th straight home game. You're also coming off of a bye in this game. Yes. What would a win against Michigan State do for you guys? Or is it a thing where a loss would do way more damage than a good would do after a win?
Okay. So, I alluded to earlier how we have a lot of older fan base, the OGs of our fan base that are like, okay, if we can beat Michigan, because we play you guys, or we play Michigan September 20th, and then we have our bye week, and then we play Michigan State at home. That's our homecoming game. Okay.
Oh,
and
God.
That our fan base is divided in that we could beat Michigan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if we do, are we gonna, in typical Nebraska fashion, kind of poop the bed and not do very well against Michigan State? I don't think that is the way that this particular football team is ran, quite honestly. I think they're going to show up and show out.
It seems like a different Nebraska, because this is the Nebraska that we've unfortunately known to see. Is okay, hey, they're up. Hey, this is cool. They're up 10 points in the 4th quarter. Surely they can't blow it this time. And then, oh my God, here it comes. Which pains me, because I actually like Nebraska football a lot from the outside looking in. It's a very fun program to root for, unless Michigan State's playing against them. But is that kind of still hanging over the program at all? Is there a sense that the tide is turning a little bit, you think, and it won't be the same old Nebraska that we've known the last 10 years?
Yeah. It goes back to the newer people versus the older people. There's a lot of that in Nebraska. The older just holding on to that. But here we have Matt Rule, who's only in his 3rd year, and typically he turns around a team within the 3rd year. But he doesn't have all of that background, and a lot of our players that he's brought on in particular don't have that background story. So they're just going about it like, we have elite facilities, our fan base is bar none. I don't think they have any reason to be looking over their shoulder like that, especially, trying to build something that's lasting. And I think that's exactly what they're trying to do.
What is the attitude or the consensus thoughts on Dylan Raola? Raola, your sophomore quarterback here.
Yes.
Are things in a good spot right there? Was everyone satisfied with his first year? Because over here in East Lansing, we also had a young raw kid, Aiden Childs. He had what I saw was a fine year. I saw some trajectory there, but how about with Raola? Did you guys see enough improvement throughout the year? Is this going to be a sophomore season where you think from the jump he will get things going, or what's the confidence in Raola right now?
For sure. I think he has more confidence being his 2nd year. And it's different when you're a freshman and you have to go into a team and kind of be a leader.
Yeah, totally.
especially coming from a high school program, right? And having now that second year, I think that that has given him kind of the confidence to be the leader that he needs to be. He is taking, a lot of the wide receivers that we have and tight ends, and they all went down to Texas and did this, kind of practicing thing together where, they're really spending a lot of time in the off season working on just being together
Mhm.
and just playing football together. And I think that is gonna set us up for a pretty interesting season with him.
And with that too, just like you mentioned earlier, new offensive coordinator. What's
Mhm.
the read on that? Is it just optimism even before week one, or what's the backstory of your newest offensive coordinator down there?
Well, it's interesting because Dana Holgerson has been a head coach,
Yep.
but he is an offensive mind. And when you listen to a lot of his press conferences, like when he was down at TCU with Sonny Dykes, he alluded to the fact that he just loves football. He just wants to coach football. Well,
Oh
in
yeah.
today's era, you really can't be a head coach and coach football. So this is really a good fit for him. And I mean, he does some pretty outstanding things on offense. All of his offenses have been dynamic. And I just can't wait to see. We actually got to see we got a little preview of what he could do in the last 3 games of the season last year.
Okay.
And they were pretty exciting.
I'm a fan of Holgerson too because I've won a little bit of money on him just betting the overs
Oh,
for his games because
yeah.
it's not like when I say a little bit of money, I truly mean a scarce amount of money here. But hey, his guys put up points on the scoreboard, and I'm sure everyone down in Coronation is thrilled to see that coming up. But outside of Raola, because like I said earlier, I mean, you guys did have a lot of turnover on this roster. You guys are 50th in the nation at returning production right now. But I noticed that, okay, you guys addressed the offensive line in the portal here. You gave Raola some weapons on the outside at receiver. What's the biggest change that you think you're going to see as far as players go on offense? Was it the receiver room that took the biggest jump, offensive line, or anything else?
Yeah. Our wide receiver room is drastically changed. However, we do still have a couple of weapons. Ja'Cory Barney Jr., Janarin Bonner, a couple of proven weapons. And,
Mhm.
Ja'Cory Barney Jr. was also a freshman at the same time with Dylan. So this is
Yeah,
his second season. We added Dane Key, like you mentioned some of the weapons. I think offensive line is going to be a huge jump for us because we added a couple guys, one from Notre Dame,
yep.
Rocco Spindler, and then we also added Elijah Pritchett from Georgia. So, and we have a lot of depth on offensive line, which is so important. And also, did you know that Dylan Raiola's uncle is the offensive line coach?
I did not know he was on the staff right now. Shoot, I knew he
Yeah.
carried a lot of weight down there, but wow, okay, look at him go. There
So
we
I
go.
guess this is his fourth season.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Mhm.
Man, the Raola family just carrying some serious,
Mhm.
serious pull down there. That's incredible. So, what's the biggest question mark on offense then? Like, is it point blank just the run game? Are there no question marks? Are you guys going to be scoring 50 a game here, or where's
Oh,
that
I
right
hope
now?
so. I sure
Yeah,
hope so. I would love in my lifetime to have games like that. Um, I would say just looking at it, it looks like running back because we don't have a whole lot of um, proven players there. We have one that is our tried and true. And then we have a couple of other guys that, we've kind of brought in to back up. And I just haven't seen what they can do.
sure,
So it's
sure.
a question mark for sure.
I feel like it's a mirror right now between Michigan State and Nebraska because, yeah,
Okay.
on offense, hey, we got some more depth on the line for the first time in a long time.
Mhm.
Yeah, receiver, hey, we got some talented young players coming back, plus some transfers. This is awesome. A young quarterback that can hopefully, form into a solid player out of this
Mhm.
raw, talented mold that he's in. And running back, who knows? So that's fascinating. We'll see who wins that battle here. But of course, you can only win that battle if you take the better of the defensive side of the ball from the other team. So about that,
Mhm.
Nebraska defense. Are we feeling as good about that as we are the offense over there, Minnie?
Honestly, that is like its own program right there.
Okay.
The guys that we have on defense are just, I mean, these guys are built. They are.
Can we borrow some, please? I would
Yeah,
like
I
to.
mean,
Just one or two. That'd be great.
they're the guys that you want to see first off the bus because they're the just big guys. So I'm really, really excited to see what they can do. We lost Ty Robinson and Nash Hutmacher, who were, right on the front of the line. But I think we have some really good pieces to kind of plug in there. And we've always done really well in the secondary.
Yeah, no, totally. And it wouldn't be a Big Ten podcast without asking about special teams, of course. Like, your punting, your kicking. Oh, the showstoppers, if you will. What's the situation like over there? Because Michigan State, we feel very good about our punting situation. Not going to be an issue. Oh, we are just thriving over here in that department. Kicking, though? Oh, God. To be determined. But how about you guys? Is it pretty set in stone, or are there some question marks over there on that side of the ball?
Okay, Matt. This is a sore subject.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
Because last season in particular, we lost our long snapper, graduated, and we had a long snapper on the roster, but he hadn't snapped in a game.
That's a problem. Yeah.
And when it came down to game time, there were so many snaps that were off. And then we also had an injured kicker. We had so many problems, as well as, we just weren't really going after it on special teams with the return kicks and things like that. So we got ourselves a new special teams coach, Mike Eckler from Tennessee. He actually did used to coach at Nebraska. Now, he had one of the top special teams in the country. And what he has done is basically decided we're going to go into this like a rugby style punting. And I didn't know what that was, but we just got on our roster this past week a new guy from Australia who's a rugby style punter. So we're really excited about this. And our kicker is tried and true.
Okay.
We're happy with him. And we also in the portal got the top long snapper from New Hampshire. So.
Solve those problems then. Perfect. Look, you guys go. We had no idea how important a long snapper was in the game of football until the last 2 or 3 years when we started to have similar issues here. Our starter goes down to injury, and then all of a sudden, every single punt snap, it seems like it's squirrely. Some of the best catches of the game were made by our punter trying to rein in those snaps. So, yeah, I have a deep appreciation for the art of long snapping suddenly over the last 2-3 seasons. So, fun times. A lot of great memories running through my head right now. Look, Minnie, this has been awesome. Can't thank you enough for your time, your insight. But before we let you go and enjoy the rest of your week here, just to zoom out from this game, Huskers versus Spartans, what would be a successful season here? Is it a certain number of wins? Is it making a certain tier of bowl games, college football playoff? Just take away this very broad question I have for you to end this thing.
Okay. I'm going to answer it 2 ways, if that's okay. I'm going to answer it the way that our OGs would want me to answer it.
Excellent.
And that is 8-4.
Okay.
I think that's what they're looking at because of our strength of schedule. Okay.
Gotcha.
My personal take is I just don't want to see any more blowouts. It's not about wins or losses. It's whether or not you can be in every single game with good opponents. And I really want that for Nebraska. I don't want to be embarrassed anymore. So
I feel like this is a look in the mirror. Obviously, our programs, me and you look just a tad different. But, as far as Michigan State and Nebraska goes, holy smokes, because that's all I want, Minnie. It's some stat like the last 3 years. I don't have it at the top of my head exactly, but I think we're 11-1 in the last 12 top 25 games with an average margin of defeat of 33 points or something like that. And in some of those games, they're taking their foot off the gas in the fourth quarter. So, I just want to watch a respectable team. That's not so much to ask. I mean,
you just want to be in there with every single team. And if they're a good team, you want to be in that game. Yeah. So you can walk away with your head held high, right?
I want to be emotionally invested in a fourth quarter every once in a while. That's so much to ask. Hopefully it's that, when we meet up in this 5th game of the season for both of us. I mean, hopefully for, my selfish point of view, hopefully Michigan State stuns the world and they get a win. But you know what? I will be upset if Michigan State loses. But hey, at the end of the day, I do have a soft spot in my heart for Nebraska. So, yeah.
Oh, thank you. I'm
course.
starting to become a soft spot Spartan fan.
There we go. Let's go. Building bridges, one podcast episode at a time. That's what I'm talking about. Yes. Excellent. Well, awesome. Anything you want to plug here before we let you go and enjoy the rest of your week?
Oh, thank you, Matt, for having me. And I would like to invite you to come on our show sometime. We do shows on Mondays and Thursdays. It's, Monday Night Therapy on coordination. And then we have a 5-Heart podcast. It's a lot of fun for fans on Thursday nights.
Excellent. Yeah, well, I'm there whenever you guys need me. But, guys, that's coordination over there. Over here is Locked On Spartans. You guys know it. We already do this 5 days a week. And now, guys, until next time, take care of yourselves. Love you all. Go green.